Today we have a model review of the Clover World DX700LC Doosan. So this is roughly a 60 to 70 ton excavator. It's a huge machine. This model I know retails for about $100, and I'm going to start this review off not with the model, but instead with the packaging it comes in. This model comes completely assembled. There's nothing that needs to be done to it. Inside the box, it's just a two-part plastic tray. Just pop it off, and the models, just pull out your model, completely done. My model was ordered from diecastmodels.co. So I'm very pleased with the service I got from them. The only issue I had with this model is that the packaging looked like the box it was shipped in got banged around a little bit in shipping. So I'm guessing that came from shipping. But there's no harm done to the model, so I'm very pleased. So the packaging itself, it's nice, simple packaging. It's there's no information about the machine on it, but it's very nicely branded for Doosan. And on the back, the only information on here is the Seoul, Korea office for Doosan's website, and not meant for anybody under 14 years of age and stuff like that. Some good graphics on it. I'm very pleased with the graphics, and then that's the side graphics on both sides. So that is the packaging. Moving on to the actual model. First, let's start out with the size comparison. Configured like this. The model's about 9.5 inches long, closer to 10. And stands at about 5 inches tall. So it's a sizable model. I'm going to compare it next to a 20-ton machine, a Ertl Case TX210, the original 210. So there's a considerable size difference there. A NZG Cat 312B, and the NZG Liebherr R936. Which up until now, this was my biggest machine. So I'm glad to have a. I'm not going to call it a mining machine, but I've seen machines similar size used for quarry work. So that's a size comparison. Overall, for the price I paid, which was $99.99 USD, I'm very pleased with this model. There's only one real problem I found with it, and that could just be my model, but I'll get to that later on. So I'm going to start with the bucket. The bucket is about average. You do have some. Let's see here if I can get it focused on the camera well. You do have some detailing on the teeth of the bucket, some side plates, and underneath you have wear plates on the bottom. Going on to the stick, I'm pleased with the detail. You do have some rubber, like hydraulic hosing. There is hosing casted into the cylinders. The cylinders are plastic, and the color match is, I'm going to give it like a 7 out of 10 on the color match, because you can tell the color itself is matched well. However, some of the more detailed stuff, there's a little bit of miscolor. It's discolored a little bit. It really doesn't take away much from the model though. But these are plastic cylinders, not metal. So, also there's the articulation linkage. The linkage, that's what I'm looking for. Works out great. You have a good range of movement, and I'll touch on that again later. The only thing I'm not super happy with is that the giant silver rivets are very noticeable on this model. I'm actually probably going to stop by the local Doosan dealership and try to pick up a can of paint for that. And that's what I'm planning on doing for it. But I mean, it does distract from the model a little bit. So the only other thing to mention on the stick, this is going to be kind of hard to show, is there is some wear plating on the back side of the stick. So if you were, moving large rock or boulder, you're not going to damage this, and the wear plating will help protect that. So moving up the boom, you have the Doosan logo. You have more rubber hoses and the casting on the hydraulic cylinder. And on the other side, it's pretty much the same. Oh, also on the boom there are lights, which is just a nice touch. Lights on either side. Alright, moving to the cab of the machine. The cab is moderately detailed. I've seen more detailed cabs, but nothing really in this price range for this size of a model. I'm going to try to zoom in on the cab itself, but it's kind of hard to with the glare. But you can see you have the computer and the track controls along with joysticks on either side of the seat. And then also on the side you have a handrail here along with plastic mirrors, plastic handrails. And also along the rest of the model on the main body you have additional plastic pieces for handrails. I think the scaling is pretty good for the handrails. I'm pleased with it. You also have additional handrails for the catwalk, which is nice to see on this size of a machine, along with a walkway going up. And then on the inside of the machine, the hydraulic motors, the hydraulic swing motors are they're plastic, and you can tell because of just like the little imperfections in the molding. Otherwise you probably wouldn't be able to tell with them mounted in there. And they do have hydraulic connections. Obviously it wouldn't be directly from the swing motors to the boom in real life, but what would be coming up from there. So there are hydraulic connections there that do connect to casted hydraulic lines in the boom. One other really nice feature about this model is that this door will open here. And the door opens to reveal an engine. It's just a plastic insert. And it's not the most detailed engine that I've ever seen in the model, but I really like the fact that this model has it. And the cover for it is metal, and when it's closed, it's a very good fit. On the back here, you have the exhaust, the counterweight, which has the Doosan logo, some what would be reflective pieces, and then some danger warning labels, which are very nice graphics on this entire model. Coming around to this side, you have etching on what would be your radiators and for your hydraulic cooling, oil cooling, the DX700, and more access ladders and walkways. Overall, I'm very pleased with this model. One thing I did find disappointing about this model, if you're looking at buying it, I wouldn't call this a reason not to buy it, but these tracks are plastic. However, that being said, they are some of the best looking tracks I've ever seen, especially for them being plastic, and they roll incredibly well. Unfortunately, this table service they're not going to roll on, but they roll incredibly well. So, the only other thing to mention on this model is on the undercarriage. There's relatively little undercarriage detailing, and I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but it says right here, Doosan Infracore DX700LC excavator, 1/50th scale, made by Clover World, and then there's just a little bit of etching there. But this is pretty much the only way you can tell it's made by Clover World, because there's no information on the box that lets you know who it's made by, and I found it's even pretty hard to tell online. So, next thing I want to discuss is the range of movement for it. Raising the boom up, you have a full range of movement. Moving the boom up, your curl is great. You can put it in a transport mode, even though a machine of this size would be moved in multiple loads, and unfortunately the counterweight's not removable or anything like that. But it does stow very nicely like that, and the digging depth is excellent. If you were doing like a really big sewer project or something, that would be one heck of a project to see something like that on, but I've seen Cat 385s being used for sewer projects before. The only problem I have with this model is that I do have a considerable amount of boom seepage. As you can see, it does sink down pretty quickly. So that's pretty much my only problem with this model, and it could just be my model. If you move the boom in closer, it does it considerably slower. You're not going to be able to tell in this video, but if you leave it overnight like this, it will sink down. So I find that to be unfortunate, and even at like that distance, it's going to start very slowly too. But overall, I'm very happy with this model. For the price, I think it's a great model. It's $100, and you get quite a bit of die cast for that money. I was debating between this and the Hitachi 870 by WSI, and I went with this one just because primarily of the price, and it's one of very few Doosan models in 1/50th scale. I've seen a lot in 1/40th scale, but this one, and then a Doosan articulated dump truck of the 40-ton class, I believe, was also released with this one, and it's also $100. So I didn't get the dump truck, but I did get this one. I'm very happy with it. The only thing I need to figure out a way to fix the cylinders from seeping is pretty much the only real big problem I have with it, and then I'm planning to get paint to fix the rivets on it. But other than that, I'm very pleased with this model. I would recommend it to anybody looking for a more affordable, large excavator. And other than that, that's about all I have for this model. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below, and I will try to get back to you. So, go ahead and leave a like, and thanks for watching, guys.